I see a lot of familiar faces, and I don't know if you come to all the meetings or you are here to see me, which I'm really happy about. And I heard that maybe Kevin is listening too, which is really exciting. So yeah, as Gary said, I've been here 20 years. I have not been all these 20 years working with Jumeirah Group, but I'm back with Jumeirah for almost 4 years now. I've been in the country since. I've done a lot of work for Abu Dhabi government and Dubai government, mostly environmental planning and environmental management for projects like Sirvania's Island and Sadia Island, and that's another story for another day. And I think we're here today to talk about sea turtles. I'm a scuba diver, obviously, as well. And I was told I have an audience that is not specifically maybe so knowledgeable about turtle biology, but it seems we have quite a few biologists in the floor. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about turtle taxonomy, anatomy, biology, why they do what they do, how long have they been among ourselves, and then why are they now endangered, even though they have been with us for over 150 million years? What has happened in the last 200 years that we have to do the work we do and look after them and try to save them? And so, well, they're animals, and everyone knows because they are working in the history where they fall. So there is one order of sea turtles, the Studines, and within this order we have 2 living families. Helornidae includes 6 species of sea turtles, and they are the turtles that are mostly known and that frequent this water actually, which are the ones that have hard shells. And then we have in a separate family the leatherback turtles that have a leathery cover to the shell. So they don't have a hard to the body, they don't have a hard shell, so that they can dive at deeper waters and withstand more pressure, and they can also tolerate colder temperatures because they cross vast oceans. And this is something that maybe for some of you is useful. How do I identify the different species of sea turtles? I'm sure that some of you, like Dr. Rulli, has been working with them for now so many years since the beginning of this project and probably from before. Some people can spot them very easily even when they go diving and when they are swimming around because they are familiar with the species of turtles we have here. But if you find, like, let's say a turtle skeleton or a turtle shell, or you find some tracks on the beach when you go for a walk in the nesting season, there are some cues that can help you identify what species of turtles we are working with. So one of those would be the carapace is formed by these little scales are called scutes, and if you count the number of lateral scutes, if you see the nuchal scute is if the 3 are touching the neck anyway, then they have these prefrontal scales on the head as well. So, for example, the most common species we have in the Gulf are hawksbills and greens, and they have the same number of lateral scutes. But here in the forehead, you can see the hawksbill has 2 pairs of prefrontal scales, while the green turtle only has 1 pair. Yeah. When it comes to nesting, if you are in the Gulf, you're only going to find mostly hawksbill footprints on the beach, and probably only in the Jebel Ali marine protected area. In Abu Dhabi, they have more than 200 islands, and you can find turtle nests in many different places. Occasionally, we will find a green turtle nest, and they happen to have different footprints on the beach. The size will be one cue, but also some turtle species leave symmetrical footprints on the beach because when they walk, they will be using both front fibers at the same time, while other turtles will be just leaving asymmetrical footprints on the beach. So, for example, if you go to Ras Al Had, or if you go to Masira Island, where you have loggerheads and green turtles nesting, and you wake up in the morning, like Barbara, she likes to go to these islands in her free time, then you may end up trying to find out whether this is a green turtle or loggerhead. So this is all available online on the CITES website and seaturtle.org and many other places. So since when do we have turtles with us? And how did they evolve? This is a loggerhead, so that's the bigger size we have nowadays. But there are fossil records of turtles that are as big as 4.2 meters. So yeah, like the megalodon, we don't have those anymore. So they will fit somewhere here, late Jurassic, beginning of the Cretaceous period. So there are turtle records, fossil records. Is there any paleontologist here that maybe can correct me if I do something wrong? That are around 180 million years old. And Chelonians are believed to be with us for around 150 million years. and they haven't really changed much other than its size. So these animals that have a very, very complex biology, they have a very successful biology as well. And we as humans struggle to understand, or have struggled for many years to understand how they behave, why they do what they do, where they go and nest, where they go and eat, how long it takes for them to become adults, how the sex ratio plays out, and so on. And we have not been very good at looking after these animals, but they survive what the dinosaurs could not survive. Yeah. This is a 85-million-year-old turtle fossil, and it looks exactly the same, except in size, in the turtles we have nowadays. Yeah. So biology, this just some things that make sea turtles effective in the water. The shape of the carapace makes them hydrodynamic. They have elongated fins instead of having legs like the land turtle. This is why I'm saying this. We have a line 800 turtle that gets called every day by people that wants us to adopt their tortoises or the freshwater turtles, and so every time we talk to people, we explain to them the differences so that they understand we look after sick and injured sea turtles. Yeah. They are covered in a hard skeleton. There are very few animals in the world that have external and internal skeletons, and sea turtles is one of them. So the external skeleton provides protection from predators, and the internal skeleton is like ours. It serves to anchor our muscles so that we can stand straight and walk and move around. Except the leatherback that does not have a hard skeleton, they have like a leathery surface. Yeah. These are a little bit of the different features that you can use to identify turtle species. So the skeleton, how they believe that sea turtles evolved from a reptile that had, they have found fossils of reptiles that had the ribs a bit wider and flatter, that they provide more protection to the external organs. The result is that sea turtles, they have this carapace is formed by the ribs. You can see that they are very wide, flattened, and fused to each other to form a hard surface. And then the lower part, the ventral part of the skeleton, is completely independent from this and is formed by bony plates. And for the hands, they are separated, and as they grow, they fuse to each other. And they have full protection up and down, so they have very, very few predators as adults. They don't have teeth, but they can bite. In my team, you know, they have very, very hard, they have very strong beaks with serrated little footlets, we say, that can really bite very hard. And their members, their limbs have been adapted to swim. So if you look at it, they have the same motor structure like we do. So they have the same fingers, it's just very long. You can see that in marine mammals as well. So animals that went back to the ocean to swim. The front flippers are used for power, and they swim like an 8, pretty much like butterfly swim. And the back flippers are for balance. So even when we have turtles that are missing flippers, we release them and they do fine. Why? Because if, for example, there is a front flipper, they can build up a lot of muscle on the other side, and they can swim with the back flippers a little bit skewed, and then they learn how to swim straight, how to turn fast, and after some rehabilitation, they are able to go back. And I will show you some maps of turtles with missing flippers that cross the Gulf and go all over the place, and they do that quite fast. They also use, obviously, to walk on the beach, to dig the nest. The back flippers are used to scoop sand out to make a hole to lay the eggs. And internally, they have, with a few exceptions, very similar anatomy. So the main exception is that they don't have a diaphragm. So all the internal organs are in the coelomic cavity, and they are all protected within the external skeleton. So they are all, the ribs cover all the organs. They have the lungs on the top, and you may have very sadly seen fishermen when they want to kill sea turtles, they put them upside down. because then the turtle cannot breathe because of the weight of all the organs, right? So if you find the turtle that is upside down, the first thing you have to do is to turn it over, yeah? As other reptiles and birds as well, the reproductive, urinary, and digestive system merge in a cloaca. The heart is a little bit different. They have a different blood circulation system, so they have like an internal rebreather, let's say, like the divers, so that they can use more of the oxygen that they take in a breath. Yeah. So that makes them actually be able to stay very long underwater. So sea turtle can stay 6-7 hours without taking a breath because they can use more of the oxygen, and also they can lower their heart rates a lot. So they can be several minutes between different heartbeats. Yeah. Who has seen a turtle nesting and thought, oh, poor thing, she's crying, right? So sea turtles don't really cry, or they complain, yeah, they grunt, they don't really cry, but they secrete salt through a special glands they have in the eyes and through the cloaca as well. So they can drink seawater, and then half of the salt that comes in can come out through these systems. Occasionally, we will get a turtle that has little calcification inside the eyelid. It's like salt deposits because the gland is obstructed. So that's actually something that we can see normally. They have really powerful pectoral muscles. You can see that there. That's where we give them the muscularization because you see it. And then we have some biologists here that work with animals as well. And they can really cover couple of 100 kilometers in a day easily, yeah. So sometimes people ask us, so if you find this turtle in Jebel Ali or you find it in Sharjah, where do you release it from? And like, it doesn't really matter, we release it to the closest place rather than taking it on a car and cross the city, because they can be in 2 days, wherever they want. And we have turtles that in 5 days are in Milan. So, you know, they know where to go and they can get there very fast. This is just for you to have an idea on the sizes of the living species of sea turtles. We don't see leatherbacks here, which I'm quite happy about, because we don't want to handle 500 kilogram animals on a daily basis. Yeah. So most of the animals we receive are hawksbill turtles, which are actually critically endangered, but they happen to nest in this part of the Gulf. And so we get a lot of juvenile hawksbills. And then we get a lot of green turtles, which don't usually nest in this part of the Gulf, but we have a lot of seagrass. If you are divers and pretty much any beach in Dubai, if you go a little bit far, then we find some seagrass, yeah? So we have a lot of green turtles that come here for food. They had last year a green turtle nesting in one of the islands in Abu Dhabi, so it happens sometimes, but it's not often. And then occasionally we will get some loggerheads. Occasionally, so we get maybe one or two a year. And since the project started, we have received 4 olive ridleys. They probably just come here because they are lost, because we don't see them frequently, and this is not really their favorite environment. They are more, let's say, from the East Coast and from India. Sea turtles don't have very good hearing sense. They don't really have like an opening in the ear. But they do have a bone in the middle ear, and they have behind the tympanum like a layer of fat, so they can feel vibrations and like low kind of frequency noises. And they have quite good vision, but not nocturnal vision. So maybe you've heard the turtle nesting beaches. If you put light on the red spectrum, we can see the light and we can enjoy the evening, but sea turtles don't really see it very well, so it doesn't really bother hatchlings so much. But what is believed is that because they have probably the capacity to see bioluminescent creatures when they go diving, so they will not see very well in the dark, but they will be able to see some of the jellyfish that some of them like to eat and so on. They have nerve endings in the carapace. This is, I just need you to remember 2 things from this talk, and one is this. Please do not remove ever barnacles from any stranded sea turtles. It's extremely painful. And you are very likely going to remove chunks of turtles with them because they are encrusting into the turtle. So all these videos you see, with people removing barnacles with a knife and then releasing the turtle. If a turtle is covered in epibiota in marine life, in oyster, barnacles, algae, is because the turtle is very sick and is not able to swim properly and becomes lethargic, and then everything starts growing on it. And then it is different kind of health. Yeah. I'm telling you this because unfortunately, so far this season we have received 26 sea turtles since the beginning of the year. So that's today's 20, yeah. So 26 turtles, yeah. Yesterday we got 5. So people go to the beach in the weekends. It's not that turtles like to come in the weekend, is that people find more when they go out, right? And we lost 2. One of them, forceful barnacle removal. The second one of them, we asked them, please keep it out of the water. When we collected the turtle, they had a shopping plastic bag with water and the turtle inside, and the turtle drowned. Okay, so sea turtles are reptiles, they breathe air, they have lungs, and they are very sick. They really struggle. And so if you find a sick turtle out of the water, don't remove any of the barnacles. Yeah. They have very good sense of smell. So whenever, for example, if you come to visit us in Al Nasim and we start feeding the turtles, they start coming also. Not always when they see us, it's also because they can really smell the food from far away. And they can feel the magnetic fields of the air, like migratory birds. So they have something that is called nasal homing, where they will be able to remember the place where they were born. So I'm sure you have heard about this before. The turtles come back here. They take 20 to 30 years to reach adulthood, and they will be able to come to pretty much the same location where they were born. So they do this because they can feel these magnetic fields, but also following currents, smells, some visual cues, and there's a lot we still have to understand about them. But you can imagine as a sea turtle, if you are born in Dubai 20 years ago and then you come to try to lay your eggs, and then, you know, there's not much left for them. So we have in Dubai, we just basically have the Jumeirah Marine Protected Area, which is protected, but it's owned by Nakhil and Diwan. Yeah, but the whole reserve is protected reserve. This is the only place where we have turtles nesting in Dubai. Yeah, Abu Dhabi, they have a lot of offshore islands, so they have a lot more options. Yeah. So reptiles, they cannot live in very cold climates. So we only find them in warm and temperate seas. These are the 4 turtles we have in the Gulf. And you can see the red dots, the places where they nest. So you can see the hawksbills nesting around this area. So, but they don't really go any farther either side. And as I said before, they take 20 years. So what do they do when they come back? Both, well, I'll go back to that slide later. Both males and females return back to the same place, to the nesting grounds, after being a long time just feeding here and there. And then the females mate with a number of males, yeah? And then they can store the sperm and they can lay a clutch of eggs every couple of weeks. So depending on the body condition of the female, if she had enough food, maybe she didn't nest last year and she's got enough reserves, then she will be able to lay a higher number of nests, and she will just develop around 100 eggs every couple of weeks and go back to the beach. So when you have a beach, for example, Sadia Island, right? So Sadia Island in Abu Dhabi is a turtle nesting beach. It's got a fantastic, and it's a beautiful beach if you want to go to a nice hotel. That's the place, yeah. Maybe they have 3 turtle nests in a season. Maybe it's only 1 turtle that went out 3 times, right? It doesn't necessarily mean they have 3 turtles nesting on the beach. Takes around 60 days for the eggs to hatch, and the sex of the babies is dependent on temperature. Crocodiles do that as well. Yeah. So the warmer the nest, the higher number of females, or maybe all females, right? So we have a lovely lady, Dr. Hint, in Abu Dhabi, in the Environment Agency. She finished her PhD a few years ago on turtle nesting in Abu Dhabi. And she reckons we already have around 70% of the turtles being born in Abu Dhabi being females, and the males being born probably more early in the season when the beach is cooler. That's also related to global warming. Yeah. The only way to distinguish turtles, because they don't have sexual chromosomes, to do a laparoscopy and check the gonads, or when they reach adulthood, the males, they have really big claws to hook onto the female carapace when they mate, and they have a very long tail because they can retract their penis. They can go around the female to mate. Yeah, and you will see later a bit more, but very few make it to adulthood. This is, they say 1 in 1,000 hatchlings. This is without human interaction. That's just natural causes. You've heard that only females get out to nest. Sometimes they have company. So I found this photo, I think I have to put it, it's so funny. So these poor females are trying to get out of the water to nest, but the males are not giving up on what they are doing. And so to find two couples on the beach is quite funny. So as I explained before, they will go out, they will dig the nest, they will cover it. Sometimes they make false holes to kind of mislead predators. And so having some footprints and a little indentation on the ground does not necessarily mean that there is a nest. You have to continue following the footprints. And the last one will normally be deeper, and you will see that the turtle has done a bit more of a mess. That will be the one that has been successful. And then all the babies will emerge at the same time. They start with the ones on top, they make some click noises. They start developing faster, probably because it's warmer. And then they kind of push the other ones to follow, and they all emerge together, and then they will go to the sea. So what things have we been doing wrong? So when we started protecting turtle nesting beaches, not saying we as here, but as humans, they decided, okay, let's move the nests and we're gonna put them somewhere safe. This somewhere safe is usually a place that is fenced off, is shaded, is cool, and then they're all males. And you will not know until 20 years from now. Okay, so the best thing to do is to try to keep the nest where it is. And if you need to move it because maybe it's intertidal, it's gonna get flooded, or it's some really you have to move it, then you need to try to move it on a place that has the same characteristics, depth, temperature, and so on. Yeah. When the babies hatch, they have energy from the egg yolk. So they have in the belly a little thing you can see like a rhomboid here, full of little bit of yolk from the egg. This energy lasts 2 to 3 days. That's what they need for them to climb out of the nest, walk through the dunes, swim through the waves, and then reach the deeper calm ocean. And Barbara is looking at me because she was last year rescuing a lot of turtles in Oman and returning them to the sea because some of them don't have that strength. So all these projects where you pay $10 to release a hatchling, sometimes they will have these hatchlings in a bucket of water, and they will give them 2 to 3 days. And then they are gonna swim until they have no more energy. The moment you put them in the sea, the waves are gonna wash them back, they are gonna get eaten by seagulls. So if it is not necessary, we do not mess up with their nests. They will have that energy to go to deeper ocean where the water is more calm, and they float around. All sea turtles have like an omnivorous diet in their babies, and they will feed on pieces of algae, plankton, little bits of things that come their way. And who from here is scuba diver? Yeah. Have you ever seen in when you go diving a turtle smaller than this? You haven't, right? Because those are in the pelagic stage of their life. So they feed in the open ocean, and then when they reach a certain size, like 3 to 5 years, depending on how big they grow, depending on how much food, they will come to the feeding grounds. And they will stay in different feeding grounds, they move around if the water is too hot or too cold and they are not comfortable. After 20 to 30 years, they will come back to the nesting area. After mating, the males will go to the feeding ground, the female stays around until they finish the mating season. And this migration, the record so far is 40,000 kilometers distance, 22,000 miles. Turtle that's found from Australia to Angola and back. Yeah. Why do we have turtles here in the Gulf? So hawksbills are born here, but they feed on mostly sponges, right? And Dubai, well, now we have a lot of sponges in all the revetments, but we used to have a lot of natural reefs as well. They have very important in keeping ecosystem healthy because sponges compete for space with the coral, and sponges grow much faster. So by eating the sponges, the hawksbill turtles allow for the coral reefs to grow healthier. And around 25% of all marine biodiversity depends on coral reefs, yeah. So they have a very important ecosystem function. Green turtles eat the seagrass and they keep it healthy by cutting it, yeah. It's like if you mow the lawn, then your grass is healthy. And seagrass is the biggest carbon sink we have. It has 10 times more power to absorb CO2 than many trees, yeah. Loggerheads feed mostly on jellyfish, and that's why they are, and also they like a lot of crustaceans and other things, but that's why they are more pelagic, you see more in the open ocean, and olive ridleys more in mollusks and so on, and that's where I say we don't have so many here. Even though they have been with us for 150 million years or more, we are not sure. The last couple of 100 years, some populations have declined 80%, and that's because of human action. So these are some of the threats we have. You can clearly see them here. Obviously, there is a lot of natural predators of hatchlings and eggs, but also human collection of the eggs, and hawksbill turtles are critically endangered because the shell is used for jewelry. Yeah, you can see that there. This is traditional Chinese and other countries' medicine. So there's different turtle parts, including the male parts as well, because they think it gives you some superpower. And well, this is just turtle shell trading. Yeah. Yeah. The only other predator of adult turtles other than humans will be some pretty big sharks. Yeah. And then I think nobody has seen this other than this time. So the great white and the turtle, they both die because the turtle got stuck in its mouth. So it's pretty romantic photo. Habitat destruction. So we are building very close to the water line. And so there is not much space for turtles to nest. As the sea level rises, then that space becomes less. Yeah. And reclamation directly over their feeding habitats, feeding grounds, and of course troll fishing, yeah, because troll fishing is just basically ripping off everything off the seabed as the nest goes. Fisheries, bycatch, nets and hooks. We have a lot of turtles and family fishing lines, and a lot of turtles are just hooked every year. We have turtles with decompression sickness from being trapped in nets. And fisheries are evolving to find ways to protect sea turtles. So there are some nets that have excluders for sea turtles. There are some specific hooks that are not so conductive to turtles getting entangled, especially just in the mouth or around the flipper. Yeah. And then global warming. So what I explained to you about the sex ratio, so now it's not balanced anymore. Storms will destroy the nesting habitats. That's happening more often now. And then sea level rise. Basically, if we build too close to the coastline, we don't allow for coastal ecosystems to shift back as the sea level rises. So that's something that should be considered when you are doing a new development. And of course, bleaching of their habitats as well. And then pollution that's self-explanatory, I don't have to go through it very much. Light pollution, that's something that is very easy to prevent. Baby turtles, they don't really see much spotlight, but in a non-human environment, the ocean is brighter than the land because the moon will reflect, the moon and the stars reflect on the sea and creates like a glare. So they will look at like a 40-degree angle up and look where the sky is brighter, and that's where they will go. And so you will have many places where turtles nest and they run to the road, the babies, instead of going back to the sea. And of course, nets, plastic. 80+% of the turtles that come to us, maybe they come to us because they are entangled or because they have a lung infection. We should monitor what goes through them, and they will have some sort of plastic. Yeah? Sometimes it gets really bad and they cannot feed anymore. And so that's why now all sea turtle species are threatened with extinction. Hawksbill turtles are critically endangered because of, apart from all the other threats, they are caught for their shell, and green turtles are endangered. loggerheads and olive ridleys are vulnerable to extinction. A little bit about what we do. So now you know why we need to help sea turtles. And look, a lot of the turtles we receive are sick from natural causes, but there is very few left. So we help them all, yeah. We started in 2004. It was an initiative from the Wildlife Protection Office because there were a number of sea turtles stranded in the beaches every year and no place to take them. So Mr. Kevin Highland, who may be listening to us now, came to us because we were working closely together. He was working with Aquarium from the very beginning of the development of Arab, and we basically had the first large aquarium in the region with the facilities and the team to look after these animals. And when we started, we built an enclosure in Mina Salam because sea turtles need to build up some strength before we release them. So we had the critical care part in Burj Al Arab, as we do now, and then we had Mina Salam. In 2016, when Al Nasim was built, they master planned it with 5 perfectly designed sea turtle rehabilitation lagoons because we needed the space. We started talking, bringing schools into Mina Salam, talking to people like yourselves, talking to media, doing turtle release events, and then people knew what to do, who to contact. We started getting up to 300, 350 animals in a single year. And that's why Jumeirah was built with these pools. And since we started the project, we have rehabilitated and released 2,196 sea turtles of these 4 species. We have placed 89 satellite trackers in them. And we don't do this alone. Really knows because CVLL, the Central Veterinary Research Lab, has been giving us veterinary support from the beginning. So all the lab work, postmortem, and they do beautiful research as well, has been running through them since the beginning of the project. And then we have been working with first Al Wasal, then the Dubai Turtle Hospital, and now Al Nasifa Falcon Hospital for X-rays, surgeries, and other veterinary procedures. If you're not following us on Facebook, join because that's where we post what we're doing and what things are happening with our animals and so on. And we have a comprehensive school program. If you have kids, you can ask the teachers to send us an email, and we have free school trips and we give them breakfast. A win-win. And daily education outdoors as well. So the project was created to rehabilitate, rescue, rehabilitate, and release sea turtle farms around the region. For the last 3.5 years, there are facilities in Abu Dhabi and in Sharjah as well. So Abu Dhabi turtles will go through the environment agency to the National Aquarium and to SeaWorld. And SeaWorld also looks after sea snakes and they look after seabirds and so on, marine mammals as well, right? In Sharjah, they have facilities in Corcalba. It's not a huge place. If they need support, they ask us, but they are doing really well as well. Still, if you want the easy way, if you find a sea turtle anywhere, and you don't know who to contact, if you contact 800 Turtle, I will put you in contact with the adequate facilities in the area where you are. Yeah. We have comprehensive educational programs. So we have daily talks at 11 a.m. in Jumeirah and Nasim. You're very welcome to come. And we have school groups as well. And then we use satellite tracking to understand, is the turtle going where it should go? Is it still alive after half a year? Where do they go to understand more the movements? Some turtles stay in Jebel Ali for a year until we lose track. Some turtles go out of the Gulf. Some turtles go, we had a turtle going all the way to Thailand, right? So we get to know all these things. If we have turtles, for example, that go to Abu Dhabi to a specific area and stay, then we share the information with the environment agency and tell them, look, this is one of your protected areas, it's working, this turtle has been there for this long, and we share the maps. Yeah. As I mentioned before, this is for all of you to do. If you find a sick or injured sea turtle, you call 800 turtle. They will look something like this. I have some more photos you can see. So, huge part of the animals we receive, over 60%, is this time of the year, like today, yeah, and they are only this big or this big. And they are completely covered in epibiota and sometimes full of sand as well. So it's not very easy to see them. If the sea is rough, it's winter, the water is cold, and the sea is rough for a couple of days in a row, they will land on the beach. If you go in the morning, in a rough sea day, there are actually quite high chances to find a sea turtle. It's not very difficult to find a sea turtle, yeah? Yesterday, we received 5. And we have people that do that and have rescued turtles 2 consecutive years, yeah? You see, they have oysters, barnacles, anemones, a lot of algae. Sometimes they cannot breathe properly. Sometimes they have barnacles covering the eye. Sometimes the barnacles grow through the flippers and they lose fingers. So look at this. Yeah, keep an eye for those. Sometimes we have entanglement. We have a lot from the East Coast, so we work with Jumeirah Environment Authority, and they are mostly entangling fishing lines as well. Then after they go through the rehabilitation process and they are strong enough, they get released back to their wild. So these are the reasons why they come to us. This time of the year in the winter, like look at this hawksbill, yeah? The marine growth on them is heavier than the turtle itself, right? So a few things happen here. One is turtles are reptiles and they cannot regulate their body temperature. The water is cold. These young turtles, the immune system is quite young, so they get sick, like the kids when they start school and winter and so on, right? And then they are mostly at the surface. The water here in the Gulf is very productive. It's sunny, it's full of nutrients, and there's a lot of larvae from barnacles and oysters and things, looking for a place to settle. They will find these foxbill turtles, which actually have also the scutes are overlapping, and they can find really nice place to attach themselves to. And then, because the turtle is sick and is not very mobile, all of this starts happening. And then this time of the year also it happens that they start shedding these scutes, and sometimes they will lose a part of them, and then the turtles start capsizing again. So they cannot swim properly. We have people that go out with a paddleboard or a sailboat, and then they say, oh, this turtle cannot swim straight, it's trying to swim straight and it cannot, or it's sinking this way or that way, right? So that's quite not very good for them. But these are actually very easy to treat. They normally have a mild infection. How do we remove this marine life? If the turtle is strong enough to lift the head to breathe and can be inside water, because sometimes they are just completely flat, then we put them in fresh water, because they are also dehydrated, they can absorb water through the cloaca, they can drink, and after 2-3 days, everything growing on the turtle will die, because all of this cannot live in fresh water, right? When it dies, it becomes loose, and it's very easy to remove it, right? So that's the way we do it. We never forcefully remove any of this growth. This and this is when turtles eat plastic. Okay, the plastic gets entangled in the food. So very often, for example, green turtles will have like some threads, plastic from bags, from this big sacks that they use to transport things on the boats, right? It gets entangled with the seagrass, and then it forms like a hard thing, and then it just becomes very solid, and nothing can pass through. And then they descend some consequences in the necrotic. Those are the hardest treats. Yeah. We have boat strikes. We have entanglement with fishing gear. So we have turtles like this one losing flippers, boat strikes, hooks, entanglement like this one. And sometimes we just have like infections, eye infections, lung infections. And then also something that is common, we get turtles that get trapped inside seawater intakes from power plants and incineration plants and so on. So we coordinate with all of these facilities as well to go and collect and check, and if they are okay, then they go straight away outside again. Yeah. These are some of our facilities in Jumeirah. So we have some aquariums. I don't know if you've seen it. We have in the lobby 2 big tanks, 250,000 liters each. And then we have a restaurant, the Oliva Talmahara. It's got a tank. This one is 300,000 liters. And we have a lot of quarantine space where we can keep hundreds of turtles, right? And We coordinate the season. If we need to bring new fish, we will only do that in the months where it's the low turtle season, like in summer months, right? And sometimes like all our quarantine tanks are full of turtles. So last year we got 108 turtles. This year is already 26. So we have to see changes year after year. Since during COVID, very few because nobody was allowed to go to the beach, right? Before Abu Dhabi facilities, some years were 100, some years 300. It varies, yeah. And I think it really varies depending on the weather, rather than how many turtles are born. Because if we have 3 days of rough seas, we can get 10 in a day because they drift from the deeper ocean where they are supposed to be floating around, and then they slowly will come to the coast, right? So if the weather is rough, is it bad for them? I don't think so, because we get to help them. If they die at sea, they will get eaten by fish and seagulls and so on. Once they are strong enough to swim on their own and eat on their own, they are moved to Al Nasim, yeah? So here we have, Christiana could make it, like the release here. So as I mentioned before, we work with Dubai Hospital, with CDRL, and Asifa Falcon, so Dr. Pans and Dr. Barbara are turtle vets. And we have other additional collaborators as well. Very rarely we have to repeat this. We will go and also have a nice meeting, somewhere nice. And these are our lagoons in Al Nasim. So we have 5 lagoons. These lagoons are connected to the sea. Water comes in and out. They are full of marine life. There is a lot of fish and crabs and a lot of algae. Seasonally, we have jellyfish as well. And they all have caves for the turtles to sleep under. And they are only here to get stronger, to build up muscle strength so that they can do what they need to do. Well, the weather is nice because now it's too cold, especially for the juveniles. We will release them. The adults, as soon as they're ready to go any time of the year, they will go, because if they don't like it, they can swim away and go somewhere else, yeah? And that's really some images of why we don't keep any healthy adults for any long period of time. We have the school trips 3 days a week between October and April, and then we have every day at 11 a.m. an education on top, and it's free of charge, and you can just come to the hotel and ask for the turtle. And then we get to release them from the beach or from the buildings, and sometimes with VATs, sometimes with hotel groups and so on. Occasionally, like this solid Ridley, if an animal is nervous and they get scared with the noise, we will take them out on a boat and we will go beyond all the jet ski madness. And when we release turtles, we advise the Coast Guard, and we don't have any water sports around the area for a number of hours for them to find their way. Yeah. Some research, medical and satellite tracking. This is our record turtle, Diva. She went all the way from the East Coast to Thailand. She covered more than 8,000 kilometers in less than 9 months. It was the record for a great turtle at the time. And then, other than our partners, CBRL and the veterinary clinics, obviously we work with the different government authorities. As I mentioned before, we have an MOU with Jumeirah Research Center and the Environment Authority of Jumeirah, so we do the work for Jumeirah area as well. And then, because SeaWorld has the best hospital in the planet, if we have a very tough case, then we seek help. Last year we had a loggerhead with a hook 8 centimeters long in the esophagus. And Barbara, our vet, came with us, and it took 4 hours for veterinary surgeons to remove it. Yeah, so we did that surgery there. And obviously, the Royal family, because they assist with all the veterinary help, but also our hotel ambassador, Sheikh Fatima Qasimi, is a sheikh from the Royal Family of Sharjah, and a free diver, and he's a great help to us. And he actually works with the animals with us when he has some free time, because he's a diplomat. He jumps and swims and so on, and he set up the 800 turtle line for us, which we could not have done without him as well. Yeah. Some maps. This turtle spent 5 days with us. She was trapped in the water intake. She had an injury in the neck. It was not infected. Blood samples clear. She was swimming just fine. We said no chance we were gonna keep her. We put a tracker. We released her. After 2 weeks, she was nesting in Jebel Ali. after 2 weeks, yeah. If we keep this turtle, she's gonna start popping eggs in our tank and I will jump through the window. We will not be happy about it. So any time of the year, a sea turtle, an adult sea turtle is healthy. We don't keep them because maybe it's not the nesting season here, but maybe it is somewhere else, right? And we don't know where they're gonna go. Like this male, we released him in October. He spent a few days in Musanda, and then he came directly to Ras Al Khaimah, spent a month and a half in Ras Al Khaimah, guess what he was doing, and then he spent 4 months in Masirari. Yeah. So maybe he had a lot of babies, hopefully. And this, I think, is the first time Annalise really has been back here in the Gulf. And she went all the way to the nesting sites for olive rays in India. So it was really nice because we don't really get to see these animals much. And this particular turtle spent 2 years with us. So after 2 years of recovery, she went straight where she needs to go. Yeah. This is Sheikh Fahim. And this is you see 17th of October, the weather here is not hot. Yeah. It's end of the summer, the water is cooling, the sea is still very hot. 6 days she was in Iran. The water started cooling, she came back to Qatar, then she went up again, she did a few loops like this. And this is one of our beauty turtles. We released him in June. This photo is a bit old, but he's still here. Yeah, we're still tracking him in this location in Daman. So again, very few, a couple of days to orient himself. He swam all the way to Iran. Took like a week to reach there with only 1 flipper. He's this big on here. And then all around Qatar, and now he's in Saudi. And another amputee is jumping from protected area to protected area. You can see exactly the places where she likes to stay. So Katut, and then around Ras Granada and Saudi Island, Mirfa, right? So they go where they know better than us. If you can do all your ecology surveys and see what places are nice and protected, you let a turtle go, and then you know. Yeah, so this is an example of how turtle tracking can help conservation decisions as well. And yeah, I spoke a lot, and it took a couple hours. So sorry about this. Happy to take questions if you want to stay behind a little bit.
Very amazing questions.
Yes.
Can you show me the pouch where the semen is stored? When I do postmortem,
Yes.
I want to find it.
Where the semen
It's stored. Yeah, you wrote that the semen can be stored in the female in the pouch.
in pouch.
Yeah, that's what
I
you
did
said.
not say a pouch.
But you said the semen is stored in the.
Yeah, the females
But
can.
where is it stored? In which organ? This I want to find.
Find.
Because I want to find the semen.
But then you need to find the turtle that is in the middle of the nesting season.
No, when we do postmortem, in which area? I have to look where the semen
I
can.
will check it for you because I don't know. I didn't know whether this particular.
It would be very interesting.
Yeah.
If there's a small pouch like in.
Nothing says because they mate with a number of males and the males leave the area and the female will stay there for a couple of months, laying eggs. The males are already gone.
Never mind, I mean, there must be the place when we.
Must be a place, or maybe the undeveloped eggs get fertilized and they don't grow until the next batch comes. I don't really know, so.
But maybe.
But I'm sure that the answer is somewhere, so I will.
Because in hair, there's a pouch.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe also.
In turtle, I'm not sure.
Pouch.
I
We
don't know. I don't know.
Good, second question is, they mate at sea or also at land?
They normally mate at sea, but if the female wants to try to lay eggs and the male is bothering her, then the photo you saw, it's not like they have sex on the beach. I think they actually nest. They mate in the sea, but you know, the males are quite persistent and maybe the female is ready to pop the eggs and he will not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got a question from online audience.
Yes.
That's asking if the turtles don't eat fish, how come they are so often caught on the hooks?
Well, they will eat fish if they can catch one. Yeah, and very often fishermen use squid as well. So turtle like a loggerhead will love to eat that or small pieces of fish. So
Sure.
we feed fish to our turtles, right? because gives them more nutrients and so on. Many turtles are omnivores, they have a preferred diet, even green turtles are more vegetarian than anything, but if they can catch a prey, they will also eat the prey. It's my colleague, because they are dealing with the big turtle, I will consider it.
A second question,
Yes.
but the turtle tower, the map showed that it was being trapped inland. Do you know what that's referring to?
That's only a mistake from the dots, so the tracker has certain level of accuracy depending on the satellite passing, so if the turtle comes out to breathe a few times while the satellite is passing and the satellite is passing nearby, there are more breathings, then the location is more accurate. So you can have points that are a couple of kilometers off, right? So that's why some points look out, and it's a lot of work. I can remove one by one the ones that are off, but yeah, the turtle is not in the land, it's in the sea, yes. But that particular, the male, showing land, and we lost him for a month. And then we were really worried, but then it came back. After a month, the signal came back, because sometimes they are in a place where there's a lot of rocks and there is not enough coverage, yeah. So when they come out to breathe, the antenna is exposed to the air. If the satellite is passing and the satellite has Argos system, then we get geographical location, and it's not always very accurate, yeah.
How is the big of needle homing, in which for the turtles that may have nested here 30 years ago or were here 30 years ago, would they then, I guess, settle for?
They will try to find them suitable place nearby. If the place is not suitable, and they actually come out of the water sometimes quite a few times in different places until they find a place they like.
So they don't big settle for whatever they felt was close enough, so it wasn't until Abu Dhabi, even if they were hatched in Dubai, they would go to Abu Dhabi. Or
Well, they will try to find nearby, so they will try in different areas.
Is there a percentage, or is there still a chance for a turtle that has photo barnacles to recover, or do they?
It depends on why the barnacles are there. So if the barnacles are there, for example, in a young oxfield, sometimes because they shed the scutes, if the turtle is at sea and it's calm and it happens that she sheds the scutes and she recovers, then she's fine. But if a turtle is full of barnacle because it ate plastic and hasn't had any food for 6 months and the intestine is necrotic, then the answer is no. Because the barnacles are usually a consequence of something that is not right with the animal. So the barnacles is not the problem. Yeah.
They rub their, shells sometimes
To
remove the barnacles.
They do what they are nothing they can do, they will go back, they use the rocks, they use rocks and things to rub them, so they have like cleaning stations, also fishes will go and bite little, the things are killed, so. Yes.
How often do you check the trackers of these recovered turtles?
The maps are open always in my computer, so pretty much every day you can see, so I have, I can generate like a map. And then it's just Google Earth link that shows me the map, yeah. And then we have like Excel sheets with the.
And are they still all alive?
Well, we lose signal for a while, or the tracker can fall, especially young turtles, we get very little signal, especially young boxwoods. Because as they grow, the tracker will detach and fall. So for a very young animal, we get maybe 3-4 months of signal only. For an adult, we can get a year plus. For some reason in the Gulf, we don't get as much as even now in Abu Dhabi and tracking turtles, we don't get as much as in other parts of the world, maybe the salt, I don't really know. So some turtles lose signal fast and some turtles last very long. So they can maybe like antenna. If they don't like the tracker, they go against the rock a lot, yeah. Or the battery can run off or something.
So 2 more online questions.
Yes.
If I may. So first one, again from Ada. You mentioned about their hearing capabilities.
Yes.
Do they use sound for communicating?
I don't think it's well known, but they grunt, so I'm pretty sure they do. And tell Ada she's welcome if she's hearing, right? You're welcome to come and I'll take a big male out of the water and you will see he's just like, so I guess they do use sounds, and they are like a bit like cats. Sometimes they look at each other and they will be like, they hiss, so I guess they do, yeah.
And I had a second query, if I could,
Yeah.
from Alison. She dives off the east coast and she was asking about the frequency of finding turtles in fishing nets. She's previously sort of seen them caught up in abandoned nets.
Right, so if they are caught in an abandoned net, if you're a diver, you may see it, if not, you won't. So for example, the way Sheikh Fahin got involved with the project, he went free diving in an offshore island that belongs to his family, 7 meters deep. He saw a turtle trying to swim away, and she wasn't tangling a fishing line. And she cut the line, and he cut the line, and the turtle ended up losing the flipper, right? But ghost nets kill turtles all the time, but we don't get to find them. And we need to do a lot more work with the fishermen to educate them as well, because very often if they get a turtle trapped in the net, they will release it. And there are chances that turtle is gonna suffer a lot because they can get decompression sickness, near drowning, and even though they look fine, they may not be fine. We are working with the Fujairah Environment Authority to try to do more education with the fishermen, because that's difficult. Like we have turtles that bite these huge hooks with metal rods. So it's probably to fish for sharks. I'm not sure even these hooks are legal. And the fisherman will just cut the line and let the turtle go, right? So and sometimes fisherman brings a turtle and say, I didn't do this, I found it. I'm scared to call and maybe you're gonna think it was me. So it's a sensitive issue. Yeah. In some other parts of the world, most of the turtles they get in rehab centers are from fishing nets. The fishermen pull the net. If there is a turtle, they take it to rehab to make sure it's fine, and then they get released. So it's a lot of work that we have to do.
Yeah, that's only a comment.
Yes.
I mean, I have done many necropsies
Yes.
on sea turtles, and it's a very difficult job
Yes.
because the inner organs are well protected.
Yes.
You have to do a lot of cutting
Yeah.
through bones.
With the saw.
Yes, to get to the heart and to the liver.
Yeah.
So it's just fantastic how
Yeah.
these animals protect their inner life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we would love to maybe someone from the team or yourself maybe to talk about their findings, because I know you have a lot of research done about with the necropsies of the turtles. So, yeah.
But the rest is plastic. So 90% of the necropsies receive plastic as a result.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Out the hotline,
Yes.
it's the actual number, 800.
Turtle. So you have to look in your, I'm gonna show you how to look for it so you don't have to remember it. If you look at the your keypad, you've got letters underneath the numbers, right? So teenagers, they know how to do calling on the keys and stuff like that. Yeah, so you will do 800 and then you will see TU, which is 88.
Right.
R, which is 7, T, which is 8, L, which is 5, and E is 3. So the number is 800, 887, 853. But you can just remember 130 and look in your keypad for the yeah.
And people who call that number, are they calling to say, I found a turtle, it's located at a certain
Correct.
place, and you will go and get it?
So
Or they have to stay there till you call,
It's,
or how does it work?
there is many defenses. So the first thing we do always is, I will save the number because 800 turtle doesn't have WhatsApp. And then I will send them a WhatsApp and I will ask for photos and videos. Because sometimes they will call us for turtles that are dead and already completely bloated, and even you cannot really even do a postmortem on them. And then we have to call the municipality. So we ask for videos as well, because people will call for their own. We found like tortoises on the beach. People throw things in the sea and call us, right? So we always ask for videos. And then the location. If the animal is small, like small squid, then we ask them to get out of the water. Sometimes there's lifeguards. If it's a public beach, we have municipality lifeguards. They all know what to do. We train them every year, and they will keep the turtle until they arrive. If you find the turtle and you're gonna leave, you're in Ras Al Khaimah, and you're gonna come to Dubai, it's better for both me and the turtle than to bring it to us. But
We usually
but
do
we
it.
work with the animal shelter in Costa Rica, so they can also.
If you have, you obviously.
So if you have like a small turtle, you can put it in a wet towel, so out of the water, yeah. We have people, we don't know out of the water, they're like, oh, it's a sea animal, they put it in a container with water, the turtle is drowning on the way to us.
What's the biggest one you've received? How
160 kilos.
big you brought in?
No, I'm really not.
That's what I mean, what kind of large
I
one?
don't know, like if it's something like this and it's like, let's say there's something kilos and you have, but depends also, you know, if there's this cut in half and it's bleeding and it's really messy and stinks and whatever, I'm not gonna ask you to put it in your car, so most of the time we have to drive. So yesterday we collected 5, that means driving all over the country, right? But one was in Malwayne and then the lady was living in Sargent, so we met in Sargent. So it depends on the turtle and the person that finds it and so on, so, yeah,
How many people, how many employees do you have who?
not enough.
Who are just doing that?
No, we do it ourselves, because I mean, the thing is small, not everyone drives. And so we do what we can, and so that's why, you know, if people are driving fast and they can bring it to Mufalar, then it's always a lot of support for us. Yeah, we're there for that, and we are called 24/7, like, I got a turtle at midnight on Friday, yeah, because someone was somewhere and brought it to my house. And it stays locked up for the night, so that's,
Sorry, thanks. About the water, you said they can live in fresh water.
not for very long.
How long?
We only put them until the barnacles die,
Right.
so it's a couple of days, 2 to 3 days, that's it, right? And they are usually quite dehydrated. So it's actually not bad for them to be in fresh water for a while.
So.
Yes,
You mentioned that some turtles reach up to 4 meters in size.
not anymore, those are prehistoric turtles, so the bigger turtles we have, and I think they had a site in Abu Dhabi that I cannot confirm myself. So they don't really come here, they are around 2.3 meters maximum size, those are the leather factors, they are like 550 kilos.
Yeah, that's very huge.
Yes.
And what regions do?
They cross oceans, they find them out in Americas and. They are, yeah, we don't have them here and, because of us putting it in our cars, in this kind of sophisticated, we don't have, we don't have leather bugs are here.
You mentioned at dinner a couple of turtle tidbits that may be worth sharing, make turtles seem a little more like people. One was turtles getting indigestion, and the other was turtles getting bent.
Yeah, okay, so sometimes we have turtles that are positively boiling, there can be different reasons for this. Plastic is the main culprit because they will start, everything is blocked, they produce gas and it's full of gas and they float, but sometimes we have turtles with gas without plastic and without actually any hard, anything hard blocking them, right? So we have one now and it's just been pooping for the last few days and now it's able to go down a little bit, but other than that, nothing wrong with the turtle. About the bends, because they have this kind of rebreather system, if they get stressed, if they get trapped in a net, it doesn't necessarily have to be that you pull them very fast from the bottom, because they don't really breathe compressed air, no? So I don't know if you know the compression sickness. The divers, when we go diving, we breathe air that is compressed, and if we go up very fast, that air expands, and then the nitrogen in our blood vessels will expand. With the turtles, it's a bit different. They can get gas into their bloodstream when they are panicking, and because of that way to change the circulation between the lung and the heart and so on. So, for example, how do we know that? They have erratic behavior because sometimes they have gas bubbles going to the head and then they swim in circles or they do like really weird things. When you take a blood sample, very often you can see the gas. You can see it's got air in the blood, yeah? And we don't really get much of that, but we are in contact with the deep dive.
How you treating that? What you're doing now?
Time and having them in a pool that is deep enough that they can go and stay down and slowly decompress. And it just takes time, but normally you can put them in a decompression chamber, is better. So this week I was talking to the guys in Deep Dive Dubai to get into an MOU, if and when we get turtles with the vents, that we can use their chamber. And then that's very easy to help them, we can do that.
Does your collective data at this point, does it let you say that the amount of the same phenomenon, sick, turtles getting sick, getting gross and so on? Hasn't been increasing over time? If we went back 50 years, for example, would there have been the same number?
So 50 years ago, for sure, they're not the plastic, yeah,
Not at all.
and not the boat strikes, like now.
Right, so okay.
And that said, the boat strikes, very often boat strikes are caused because the turtle is very sick and not able to dive. So sometimes boat strikes is a turtle that is not able to escape from the boat as well, yeah. So definitely plastic and boat strike will have it the same. The little hawksbills with the pivetta for sure. It's a natural occurrence. It's just that we have very few left. And so we help them all, right?
And are those things also then connected with making the turtles sick so that they get growths? I was really thinking about the turtles that have growths.
Yeah.
But I realized that it's all connected. If the turtle is sick and,
Yeah, but in all honesty, at this point, I think that the little hawksbills, because last year we had, for example, a 2-week-old hawksbill with 14 barnacles already, yeah? And it did have bits of plastic in the stomach, tiny, because it's a very small, so they eat plastic from birth, basically. But it's just that the shell of the hawksbills is kind of specially designed for things to attach to it. So I don't think that, I think it's both things happening in parallel, to be honest, in the case of the baby hawksbill turtles. But an adult turtle that is able to dive and rub against rocks will not get full of epibiota unless it's very sick. So it's, yeah.
So it's not, it certainly isn't just that there are more people reporting because there are obviously.
Well, we get more turtles because there is more people reporting for sure, yeah. So we could see that from the beginning of the project, and look, when we started at the beginning, we got a few turtles only, then we got a lot. Then Abu Dhabi started looking after their turtles, so numbers went down, but still we get 100 a year, which is a lot, yeah. Considering Abu Dhabi is 80% of the national territory, we still get around 100 turtles every year, so. And I don't think that is that we have more sick turtles now than a few years ago. I just think that people know what to do and how to report it, yeah. If we let them. Pretty much like us, so 80 plus, yeah. Depends on the species as well, but yeah, pretty much like us.
Do males and females live the same age?
Yeah. The thing is that even though they reach adulthood late, I don't think there is that level of precision, like we live 3 to 5 years more than the males of our species. I don't think there's a level of precision. But what they can pretty much do is to pretty much nest until the end, kind of. So they take too long to reach adulthood, but you know, they have an extended nesting age. Yeah. So we have turtles this big, they're quite a few years old.
All right, I'll take you off your, if I can get onto my feet, I'll take you off. Take you off your feet. I'm sure Barbara will be happy to answer additional questions, but I want to say thank you for speaking to us. Barbara's going to be tucked it away already with a copy of the natural history of Emirates, the Springer book, with our thanks. So thank you, Barbara. Thank all of you for coming. This is actually one of the larger in-house crowds that we've had recently.
You see this new turtle, the mouth is full of barnacles inside. This I have not seen before.
This is today's.
Yeah, this is the turtle from now. It's full of barnacles inside the mouth. This is new.
You got to see the outside of this turtle at dinner. This is, you know, it's kids, then it's turtles. Anyway, thank you very much.